Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt. Welcome back to Farlands or Bust. This is episode 700. There it is. Now, I'm always anticipating the second Wolfie Woof, but can never do so with any sort of reliability. Whoops, I broke the torch. But there's Wolfie. Here's the Farlands world. And we are going to start episode 725. 725, my friends. As we walk towards those far lands here in Minecraft Beta 1.toast. 1.7.3 is the version of Minecraft Beta that we're using, because it's the last version to have the Farlands. In 1.8, they, quote-unquote, fixed that little error. But, yeah, we're continuing on. Indeed. This episode coming out on Friday, January 18th, 2019. Truly, I, at some point, wish for this not to be a weekly series. More frequently than that is going to be necessary. But I do apologize for that. You guys are still raising money for Child's Play charity. Or not? Hey, it's been too long. The reason I've got to make sure it's not a weekly series is because I get out of practice. Because we're raising money for direct relief charity at farlandsorbust.com up to $23,082.57. Thank you. Oh, thank you, everybody who has donated to direct relief charity, specifically, this season. And we're continuing on. Continuing on, indeed. I took a bit of a accidental 3-day weekend. It was nice out. It was nice out. In January here in the Seattle area, which is unheard of. Well, maybe not unheard of, but worth taking advantage of. So, what did I do on Sunday? On Monday, I drove to one of the islands, went to a park there, and hiked around with Juno by the water and whatnot. And then on Tuesday, I helped somebody move out of a storage unit. And then yesterday, it was also nice. And it had been... I feel short? Am I short? Why do I feel so short? I mean, I guess I'm 2 blocks tall. Did I forget to put on my shoes? It was nice. It was the last day. It was going to be nice on Wednesday. And I wanted to drive the Corolla around to keep it well lubricated, I guess. No, charged. You got to drive it. You don't want it to get all rotten. So I did that a little bit. And now it's Thursday, and I'm recording this episode for Friday tomorrow. But yeah, it's I've kind of noticed that it's taken years, but year after year after year after year, yearly, you could say, I do have like Kurt J climate, like there are seasons of the Kurt J Mac, probably associated with actual exterior seasons of the world, but like I've noticed, most Januaries, Februaries is when I'm kind of in hibernation mode, right? Things tend to slow down after the holidays. It's dark, it's cold, and it's hard to find those motivations. March and April is when I'm super motivated and work a lot. And I feel like I'm super productive. I mean, March is when I started Farlands or Busts. I was motivated to get off my duff and start a little thing called a YouTube channel that not that many people had done yet, and see if I could have fun with that. Of course, also March is when I did the stream-a-day thing a couple years back, amongst other things. That happened in March. And I even feel like last year and the year before, that was like, those are big times where I'm like, I'm like almost streaming five days a week and getting a lot of hashtag content, whatever. feel like that's always March and April. And then May is when I guess I get restless, or not, maybe not frustrated isn't the word, but just restless and looking for change, whether or not it be in work or life or whatever. There's restlessness May, June-ish, maybe because my birthday is in June. Start to ponder life and existence and mortality. I don't know. And then, that's also when I quit my job in July. After I started YouTubing, I quit my job. Restlessness, needing a big change, amongst other things. And then August, September, I think I get on another tear, another motivational tear. Productivity, playing No Man's Sky every day. So yeah, I'm not quite sure how October, November, December tends to go. But yeah, that just kind of struck me recently. It's like, there are these sort of patterns, fluctuations, as it were, and it's probably all in hindsight saying like, oh yeah, this is when this always happened. What the heck happened to Wolfie? Did you? Weird dude. There you are. So yeah, I don't know if anybody else notices that with themselves, and it could be like seasonal. I mean, it's hard to say seasonal. Everywhere I've lived has had seasons, whether or not it be Illinois or Arizona or here in Seattle, but different. But yeah, I'm sure there might be correlations there. It's hard to say. It's hard to pin down, which I guess is probably would be a good reason to have a journal or something to look back to see your own what was going on, the mental states and whatnot, literal states. And it's every like 2 years that I apparently get the itch to move. I'm not by all means moving multiple states, or perhaps at all. I gotta think about it. There is a place as a kind of a super secret side mission to my island adventure, there is a house for rent on one of the islands that has a magical view of the water and the mountains. And ow, Wolfie! And has a 2-car garage. It's like an older place, obviously, but it's cheaper. But also, it's like living on an island. There's really not much there. The internet is my biggest. The internet is good here. It's goodish here. It's Comcast. What more can you really expect? So moving is always, as our friends like CoStar have known, moving anywhere is always a big, well, this could be the end of me and my job if I get bad internet. So yeah, I'm not too sure about that. It would still, just the hassle and cost of moving is a good reason why most people don't move every 2 years, right? So we'll see. I have another month-ish to think about that. Well, really, I guess till the end of this month, and then I got to make my decision because my lease is up at the end of February to renew or not. So yeah. Anyway, it is seemingly like a yearly basis sort of thing. It's worth considering when looking into one's own self. And sorry, I haven't I don't know if you can hear this, but as I'm speaking, I'm trying to dissuade a sneeze, and I think we won that battle, but we didn't win the war. So yeah, I don't know if anybody else feels like that. You can comment down below, like, favorite, and subscribe, share on Twitter. Oh, that's something YouTube's getting rid of. The automatic sharing on Twitter. like when I upload a video and publish a video, it posts to Twitter. It's really the only way I know that a video has actually published. Because usually, if a video hasn't published, then or it's delayed in publishing, I'll oh God, Wolfie, where are you going over there for? No, spawn over here. Oh, it was just waltzing right towards that lava pool. What a noodle! What a true silly noodle. This is a elevated reedy bed. But yeah, YouTube is getting rid of the automatic sharing on Twitter, both of uploaded videos and liked videos. Whenever perhaps some of you guys like a video, it says, I liked a video by Kurt J. Mac at blah, 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 blah. No, they very much would like you not to use any other website other than their own. So that's an annoyance. I'm sure there's some automated script way I could have it post to Twitter. But anyway, let's go to sleep and continue in the morning. And Twitterness. Right, Wolfie? Right. So yeah, that's gonna be a thing to think about. Oh boy. Yeah, they want us to use. There's apparently this like a feed. There's a feed, and there's also like stories, like Instagram snories. Get it, snories? Instagram stories, which was taken from Snapchat stories. YouTube has their own stories, and also like a activity feed. They're constantly giving me phone app alerts. We created this animated GIF from your latest video. Share it with your followers on the YouTube feed. And it's like just some random, it's usually like of a video game like menu screen. Just because they don't know when to make a GIF out of it. Like in the recent like Spin Tires episodes, it was like me choosing which attachments to put on a truck, and it's like, okay, thanks for that 5-second animated GIF of that. Not exciting at all stuff. So anyway, I gotta actually look at my analytics to just see how much traffic may or may not come from Twitter. Also Facebook. I'm very, very seriously considering just deleting Facebook. I recently was able to recover my admin for the Farlands or Bust page, my admin login, which is separate from my personal hello, I am actually Kurt Facebook profile that I've had since I first set it up back in the early days when it was only available to colleges, when I was in college, which I definitely want to delete because I don't use it anyway. I have like 8 or 6 friends, and they're all like just my family. And like I never post anything or I never interact or whatever. I just have it so I can manage the Farlands of Bust page. But now that I don't need that, I could probably just delete it. But yeah, also like is it worth it to like how much traffic? Specifically the Facebook page, it doesn't even like I think I have like 24,000 people following or liking the Farlands of Bust Facebook page. But whenever I post something, it actually only reaches about 900, and maybe like 12 actually stop and engage with it. So they'll send it to all 24,000 of my followers if I pay them, of course. But I'm not having any of that. So everybody delete your Facebook. It's fine. That's the only way it's going to work. As less and less people are on there, it becomes less and less valuable, right? Most people's reasons for not wanting to leave Facebook is like, well, I don't know how to keep up with the rest of these people. You'll find a way. Or perhaps you'll learn that the people you are keeping up with are not worth that time anyway. Sorry, I didn't mean to go on to that tangent. You know what tangents I like to obsess about? Pointless ones. Like leaky faucets. Oh man, in thinking about the patterns and the seasons of the Kurt, I notice I also find myself allowing small, normally inconsequential things to consume my everyday. Like my faucet in my kitchen is leaking. It's one of those pull-out. Did I already talk about this? I'm getting lost as to what I've talked about on stream versus what I've talked about on Farland as a Bus. But anyway, it's one of those pull-out. The faucet head pulls out of the neck of the faucet, and you can use it as a hand sprayer and handheld sprayer, hand sprayer. You can only spray your hands. Handheld sprayer. Well, the hose, the noodle part has started to leak, and I first noticed because it was leaking and then dripping down behind and underneath the sink. And it's the hose itself, and it's not an attachment point, it's not an O-ring or anything, it's the actual hose itself. So I'm like, okay, I'll find a hose. It's got to be a replacement part. It just unscrews and then unclips from this kind of quick connect thing in the back of the faucet connection link point. I don't know what brand of faucet it is because there's no words. There's no logos, like it usually says like Kohler or Moen or whatever brand is American standard. But I think because this is the faucet that came with the house when it was built, it's just some cheap generic contractor, the builders just quickly installed when they were finishing building the houses. So there's no brand. And each and every brand and each and every model within brands uses some other non-standard form of hose and attachment point. I went to Home Depot, and you might be asking, why don't you just call your landlord, your property manager? Because little stupid things like obviously my microwave stopped working at some point. I called them, and they fixed it. Something happened with the light. They replaced a light fixture. Okay, yeah, that's fine. But little doohickey things like this, I don't mind taking care of. A leaky faucet, a loose screw. I got a few loose screws, let me tell you what. So I went to Home Depot and found a universal replacement hose. It had a bunch of attachments. It's the right kind of braided hose. No, none of the attachments work or properly seal or screw on 100% of the way. A real disaster. And then I also ordered from Amazon one that looked like it would work from the picture. It doesn't work. Just everything is wrong with it. So now I got to return both those things. And I finally did contact the property manager, and they're like, how about some tape? Plumber's tape or something. Or they're asking me questions of things I've already checked, like is it an O-ring or something? I'm like, no, it's like the actual hose. So, I don't know. My dishwasher has been getting more of a workout in the last 3 days than forever since I've lived here. I always just hand wash my dishes. Oh man. So yeah, I don't know. I might try the tape thing. I don't think that's going to be a permanent fix. But anyway, you can see my point here is it is literally consumed. I'm pretty sure I didn't stream or work a day last week or two because of this, because I was going to Home Depot and Lowe's didn't have it, so I had to go to Home Depot and blah, 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 blah. This always happens. And I don't want to call it OCD, because that's, something else, and everybody's saying, that's triggering my OCD. That is wrong on multiple fronts and for multiple reasons. It diminishes the real, actual prescribed condition of obsessive compulsive disorder, but it's got to be something related to anxiety, attentiveness, and just the fact that they're small things. Like I'm separating myself a bit because I've recognized, but I was unnecessarily obsessed with trying to find the handbrake cover for the old Corolla. Whoa! Like this little interior trim piece. And I recently, there was a guy who was scrapping and parting out a 1980 Corolla that had similar parts, but they were like an hour and a half drive away. And I contacted him, and they're like, yep, I have that part, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, why? I don't need to drive 3 hours there and back for this little piece of plastic. Calm down now, Kurt. The wheels, yeah, the wheels were like a little over an hour drive away to get the wheels. That makes sense. That's a big thing. But, little flimsy doohickeys. I am slightly obsessed. My current driving it yesterday Corolla obsession is a floppy hood. Cone knows about my floppy hood. Excuse me. But in the rare occasion I do get up to and over 45 or 50 miles an hour, depending on how far off the speedometer is at that point. Specifically the left side of the hood starts a flopping disconcertingly. It's got a safety latch and it's secure, but it's still a little bit disconcerting. I've adjusted the bumper, the little hood bumpers. I've adjusted the latch. I even started adjusting the hinge, because I was thinking, okay, maybe the hinge is too low, and it's causing like what is that called? A pendulum on the front with the little rubber bumper stopper thingies. So I tried that. That really didn't work. It does need. There's I don't know if you could think of what a hood looks like underneath. There's basically the flat piece of metal that is the hood, but then underneath there's like a bunch of, I guess you can call it structure bracing. Careful, Wolfie. Normally that's just attached with a very hard adhesive, like a spongy hard adhesive. All that adhesive has gone. So really the hood itself is not connected to the underlying structure brackets, struts, if you will. So maybe you're finding that sort of adhesive foam stuff. I think it's called like foam weld or weld foam, or yeah. Anyway, perhaps finding that. I do know that some of the metal around the actual hood latch on the hood, there is a crack there from probably too much wiggling up and down at speed. But yeah, that's kind of like my latest obsession. That one's a little bit important, but I don't know. Maybe not as important as keeping other stuff, whatever. So yeah, it's just these things really just overwhelm. That's got to mean something, right? Let's just sleep on it. Let's not get overwhelmed. Let's sleep on it and continue in the morning. And awakeness. And awakeness indeed. Oh, Wolfie, you need some treats. You're looking a little peckish. There we go. Peckish. You know what else I was obsessed with? When I was thinking of doing since I'm not working yesterday and I'm gonna take the Corolla for a drive. Let's do a driving vlog. I don't think I'll ever be able to do that in a Corolla. It's too much of a stressful experience to drive that thing. All of my brain power is being used on shift, clutch, turn, shift, clutch, brake, shift, hill start. It's and also make sure the hood doesn't fly open and murder everybody. So yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to do that. Also, it's like probably way too loud in there. I mean, Cone did it in the car. Cone did it. He's more experienced, so he doesn't really have to think about, whoa, accidentally hitting his mouse and spinning around 360 degrees. He doesn't have to worry about the manual transmission stuff. But something else in that same vein I was obsessed with was the audio from the GoPro, trying to record either vlogs on hikes or in the Subaru and cars, where I got the little lavalier mic, I got the little extension cable, I got a different mic on a different mount, messing around for hours in Adobe, trying to cancel out the noise. Man, that took a long time. And I still haven't solved it. It's eventually I just give up. So with this faucet, I'm just eventually going to give up and just tape it and hope it doesn't leak anymore. Maybe put a bucket underneath the faucet sink cabinet. Also, I recently installed I guess my Christmas gift to myself was a dash cam for the Subaru. Got the dash cam, plugged it in. It uses a USB. It works, but I didn't want it to take up a whole, because I use my cigarette lighter power for my phone. I didn't want it to take up the cigarette lighter thing. So, based on the recommendation of folks in my Twitch chat, I got a hardwire fuse tap USB, which they make for dash cams or whatever. So I spent not only all the time researching and buying the right one, but then installing and routing the cable all the way around, hiding it underneath the trim, properly plugging it into the accessory switch, fuse doohickey, mounting the thing, I keep wanting to say GoPro, but dash cam. And then I realized that the cable I got, it's like a USB, not USB-C, what's the other one? Mini USB? It's a right angle one, and the USB cable that came with the dash cam, because you mount it upside down, it goes to the right angle and then up, right? This one in the kit I bought for hardwiring it angles down, which is oh man, that really did something. I'm like, oh man. So it's a right angle down, and then I got the cable wrapping around to go up. But I did a pretty good job. Other than that, I have the cable routing up through the rearview mirror. Already has a cable to it because it's a powered rearview mirror with a garage opener and compass and auto dimmer and stuff like that. Up into the headliner and then around the door sill and then in under the dash to where the fuse box is. I'm very proud of that. I did end up just whatever excess cable there was, just shoving it behind a plastic body panel that had some space in it. But that's fine. Nobody needs to know about that except everybody I just told. But yeah, it's just like, that sort of stuff I obsess about. And it becomes my day. Or multiple days. Whew, buddy. But anyway, let's answer some questions. I do need to do these more than once a week. I got so much to get off my chest. This is like therapy, only not helpful. Way off the trail with a donation to Direct Relief asked, what is the worst game you have ever played? Oh, man. There's a lot of bad games we played. Maybe not a lot. Some. There's going to be some if we're going to try to play 365 games this year. Normally, if I hear that a game is bad, then I avoid it. But, things like Heavily Armed, Ocean City Racing, those are pretty bad games. Those are pretty bad indeed. Then there's like bad, disappointing games, like the Tomb Raider reboots. Were pretty bad. People liked them. They exist. They were made to AAA standards. But those were just emotionally bad with the connotations, I suppose. I'm trying to think of like bad games I perhaps bought or played on other like old systems. Man, one of the first games I ever owned when I got the NES, the original NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, was Battletoads. And that was a bad game just because it was a bad game, and you couldn't get past the second level, the third level, or whatever level that was. And it was so annoying, so very bad. The hover bike, like too hard for a 12-year-old or 10-year-old. I don't even remember how old I was when we got that thing. So yeah, but of course, in hindsight, everybody remembers it as the super hard game that was super like, oh, and everybody remembers the pause screen music, and so there's that. I mean, there's a lot of games I didn't like. I got Final Fantasy VII because it was like touted as the greatest game ever in the PlayStation 1 era. And I had never played any of those turn-based combat RPG situations. Screenshot. And I was just like, I never got past the first disc. There's like 7 discs. I'm like, this is just not for me. I am not enjoying my time here in this video game world. So I just stopped playing it. Similarly with Katamari Damacy, I got it because it seemed fun and an interesting concept, but it never got me hooked because it was also it was also hard, one of those timed sort of situations, and I could never really fully grasp the dual stick controls. It never made sense to me, or I was never able to be skilled enough to carry on with the game. I'm like, all right, I played it. The song is trapped in my head now for the rest of my life, and I can get rid of this now. See, I'm sure there were a lot of like bad games. Worst game? I don't know. That's like saying, it's like just the opposite of favorite this or that or whatever. I mean, Driver 3 was pretty bad. Or sorry, Drive 3R was bad. I really liked the Driver games, and I tried to like that one so much. And you could tell that they tried their best to make a good game, but there's a YouTube video about it, about the whole politics and basically time pressure from the Grand Theft Auto series publishers kind of bailing on them and just saying, just put it out. Whatever you got, put it out. I know it's not done, just put it out. Yeah, so that's why that was a really bad game. Much redeemed by Driver San Francisco, which was a good game. So yeah. Oh boy. Speaking of worst games, IndyCar Champion asks, as we near the end of our F1 season, you mean it's not over already? I didn't make the last race because I was out hiking, like I said. What were your favorite and least favorite races? Which track is the most fun to drive? I'm kind of thinking back to, I think, as far as driving was concerned, some of my favorite races were the one season I did with Cone by ourselves, just me and Cone, like the first series I ever did with Cone. It must have been that specific game and the handling and the mechanics of it, but I had a lot of fun in that game. Particularly, I really like Spa. But I also really, just in that season alone, I really had a good time because it was me and Cone were really racing each other in Austria at the Spielberg or whatever the heck it's called. Those last 2 corners, I was really chucking it in there and really just at the edge of all control. And that was just really fun to then make it stick. And I think I ended up winning that one versus Cone, even though we were like side to side, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, those were some of my favorite as far as F1 is concerned. This season, like the season we're done with right now, I don't know that I had many favorites. I don't know that has been an overall enjoyable experience for me. Different experience, yes, but there's something about both just the game and the cars and the way they are that... Did I sit down, Wolfie? Yeah. That it's not as much fun. I tried doing a race with traction control like off or half, and I've done that in previous seasons, and it's actually quite fast and quite fun, but I couldn't get it to stick this time, so I had no fun with that. And Well, you know the rest. You know the rest. And I'm glad like the other humans in that group are all tracking their points separately, and they seem to be, I don't know if enjoying is the right word, but taking it fairly seriously, which maybe might be at odds with how myself and Beef and Cone have tended to take the Formula One series in the end. But yeah, thank you for those questions and donations to Direct Relief Charity. FarlandsOrBust.com is where you can do that as well. That'd be much appreciated. Keep giving me things to talk about. Let me know your thoughts about the earlier topics I went on and rambled on and on and on about. You could say I obsessed about them, allowed them to consume me and my data. No. And yeah, this has been episode 725 of Far Alliance or Bust. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Kurt. I will see you next time. This could be the end of me.